episode on the Recreating Yourself series. Today, I have the beautiful Griselda Beck from Latina Boss Coach. Griselda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Griselda, as you know. Black and Mexican, 100% Latina.
There you go.
So my story in just like 2 seconds. I used to be a corporate executive, managed a multi-million-dollar public company, and I got burnt out. So I fulfilled one passion, right, to become an executive leader, and became the youngest and minority and female leader at the board of executives table. And now I want to help other women create those kind of results in their own businesses. So therein was born Latina Boss Coach.
Latina Boss Coach, that's right. Oh, I love it. It's so like empowering, so fiery. Like, yes, Latina Boss Coach. I want to be a Latina Boss Coach for sure.
Girl, you already are. You're already a Latina boss.
So real briefly, I would love to really just get to know your story. I know you briefly explained it, but like, what happened that made you transition? I know you said you got burnt out, and what did burnt out look like for you in that moment?
Unfortunately, you know how people say stress kills?
Yeah.
It literally kills. I had always heard of it as like a saying, and it ended up, in a medical emergency. And I went in to the ER one night, and then I had a follow-up visit on a Monday, and they did some follow-up testing in the office, and I got put on bed rest. Like, I just went in for like the checkup, and then I had meetings like full day, imagine, right? And couldn't come back to work. So that was like embarrassing in and of itself. Like, that I was too sick to come back to work. I was like, oh, but I'll work from home. And I did. I worked from home. And the doctors have been telling me for a while that I needed to slow down my lifestyle.
Yeah.
I was starting to show signs, like even 2.5 years before that. And so I did the whole like CrossFit, crazy diets, right? To like lose weight, get in shape. But I was working 90 hours a week. I was flying all over the place for work, and still managing the office here at home, and which is what a lot of executives do. So why should I be any different? Like, I can handle this. I can take it. Okay. What I wasn't doing was taking care of myself. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't protecting the number of hours of sleep that I needed to do. When I was home, I was still going. And first person in the office, last person to leave. And I took pride in that. Like, that I can do the most amount around here. And it came with a price. Yeah, so I kept ignoring it. And here's the kicker. Friends and family would tell me, like, girl, like, you need a different job, or you need to slow down. Life isn't that serious. Like, you're so like uptight all the time. And I'm like, y'all just don't understand. Y'all just don't get it. Right? And in on the one hand, they didn't get it, right? Because that is what made my career. That is what made me stand out. That thing that they knew that no matter what came up, that I would handle it. Yeah. Was great. But what made me great was also what didn't make me so great with myself. And so anyway, long story short, so I got put on bed rest for a week. Then like 2 weeks later, I went in for a checkup. She's like, I need to take you on bed rest. Like, she had been telling me on leave for like a month. I was like, there's no way I can take a month off work. Like, not an option. Give me another pill. And this time I went in, and she's like, it's time. And I'm like, okay, look, we're right up on Thanksgiving. So like, I'll have a week off then. And I'll come back. And then it can be like, I took an extended vacation. I'll work 1 week. And she's like, I don't think you understand. It's no longer your choice. Okay. For a physician to have to take control of my health, like, I can't even imagine. I'm still going, like, I think I got it all right.
Yeah.
Now I look back, I'm like, somebody had to say, you're done. Like, ethically, I can't let you keep going. And sure enough, like, the next day I had a complete, like, right. I was like, okay, you're right. I can't do this anymore. That was the last day I drove. My mom took me in the next day to talk to work and let them know. And I went home for what was supposed to be a month and ended up being 4 months on medical leave. Super embarrassing. You know, I was pretty high profile, so I was embarrassed, right? I was afraid of what people would say, what they would think, that I couldn't hack it, that here we are, we gave a girl a chance, and this is what happens when you give a girl a chance, right? A woman a chance. I wasn't a girl, but and so I was worried about all that. And then I came back earlier than I probably should have, 2 months battling back. And it took about a year before I felt like I could stand up straight and feel who I was again and be in my power. But by then, when I was getting ready to come back to work, I started to feel better. So I was reconnecting with friends, family, and stuff like that. And so I called my friend and I said, hey, I know I missed your baby shower. It was supposed to be in October. This is now April. I wasn't feeling well, but how's your baby doing? And he was like, that was 2 years ago. I was like, no, the little baby. Remember, we just had lunch like 8 months ago. He was like, we had lunch about 2 years ago. My kid, I'm looking at him. He's 18 months. But thank you for calling. And I just don't even really remember the rest of the conversation. I was like, oh my God. Like, I've literally been on autopilot.
Yeah.
But I could tell you every bottom line, every quarter ending, what the earnings per share were, like the marketing campaigns, but I was not present in my life. And I was like, oh my God, something's got to change. And then I realized I have to change.
Yeah.
Right. So there started, this plan, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, so I hired a life coach and she's like, well, what did you want to do? Like 10-year plan. I was like, well, I want to be a consultant. And so it's like, that became my bridge. Yeah. And that's what I coach people on right now, right? When they're not ready to leave, when they don't know, like 100% is possible 100% of the time. What can you do right now to move your vision forward, your dream forward? What can you be doing today to take a step towards it? Sometimes that means they start their side business while they're working. Sometimes it means, like, if they found themselves all of a sudden out of a job, okay, what can we do to generate income now? Part of that is reducing our budget, right, to bare minimum essentials, and looking at what are some multiple ways that we can create an income while you work towards your dream. Yeah. And so anyway, I started the consulting company and I wanted to give back. I never had time to like volunteer. It's like one of those things, I'll do it, but I never had time. So I approached several shelters and one took me up on my offer. I offered like career coaching. Like I wanted these women to know that wherever they were today, that didn't define where they were going to be. And so they took me up and they're like, but we need a self-esteem class. And I was like, sure, yes. I go to my therapist and I'm like, I don't know the first thing about self-esteem. How do I get this started? She's like, what do you think you've been working on all this time? And I was like, oh. So I started this 12-week program with them. It was amazing. And I lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And as I was sharing this with my friends, 2-3 months in, they're like, Griselda, you're definitely good at the business, the marketing, the sales. But when you talk about this stuff, like your energy shows, you light up, like I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started coaching people.
Yeah.
I've been working with or volunteering with that shelter now for 4 years. This is my fourth year. 3 years, 3.5 years. And I love it. Yeah. And it became the birthplace of my career. I didn't know that when I left my job.
Yeah.
Long story short, I didn't know that when I left my job. I took a leap of faith, building a bridge with what I did know.
Building the bridge.
And I walked into my purpose. And now I speak to women all over internationally and I'm a motivational speaker and writing books and co-authoring books with people and coaching women to like take their dream forward and propel it, like not just a hobby, but make it a life that they can sustain themselves by.
Yeah.
So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I just first and foremost want to take a moment to just honor you and your journey. It's just hearing it and how beautifully it evolved, like just you having to step into faith trust and surrender, and knowing that everything was going to be okay. Like going from being someone who was disconnected, who was on autopilot,
Completely.
who was just like, you know what, I'm like, my right now my career is my top priority, but not having that presence, to someone who's present, who's in service to others, who really has found their joy, is such a beautiful transformation to watch. It really is.
Thank you.
And then
Beautiful transformation to live.
yes, 100%. And then in that moment when you were struggling, you know, when you had hit like your rock bottom, what did you ever even think that, gosh, I'm not gonna make it out of here, like I don't know how I'm gonna make it out of here? Or was that not even an option or a thought in your mind?
When I was sick, yeah, I didn't even know if I was gonna make it out alive, let alone what I was gonna do. Right? And then when I came back to my life didn't fit anymore. I felt the imposter syndrome hit me so hard, not from I feel like a fraud, just I felt like I was in someone else's life. Like I woke up in one of those movies where they put you like where your life could have been, like somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I knew the people, but I didn't know the people. You know, like I didn't feel connected to the people.
Yeah.
Like in that life. And it was very disconcerting. It was very confusing internally. I tried my best to not show that externally. It showed up in different ways externally. I was more even more controlling than I was before. You know, the disconnect was apparent with my team, both with management and with my employees. And I wasn't me. I was like floundering, trying to figure myself out.
Yeah, something inside of you awoke and invited you to come back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember we went through this street that we always drive by, and I was like, "Mommy, like, do people speak Spanish?" I'm trying to translate. I'm like, "Look how pretty! Like, that's so green. And when did they plant those flowers?" She looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, "That's always been there." Like I was just seeing things through a completely different lens, which is crazy. And my friends, like after I quit my job, they're like, "I'm so glad to have you back. Like I haven't seen you smile like this in years. And I'm like, "What do you mean? I smiled, I laughed, like it wasn't the same." Yeah. There's just a light in you now. And so yeah, it was hard. It was hard though, because that was my identity for so long. Yeah. My career was so tied up into who I considered I was. Yeah. Right? And it's hard to walk away from that. And I felt like a failure. I felt like I was giving up on myself, but really I was saying yes to myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Like, yes. And sometimes like when you feel like you're losing that identity, it feels like death. Like this is who everybody has thought everybody has thought I am. This is who I think I am. But then your spirit and your inner knowing knows like, no, this is not your essence. This is not who you are. And when the invitation for you to come out and fully blossom is presented to you, that can be really scary.
Yeah. And it's almost like akin to a really bad breakup, right? Like, you know, you're in a toxic relationship. It's really hard to get out of. You know this isn't what you want, but you don't know what's beyond. And so it's like somebody can tell you, oh, once you leave that person, like you're going to find the person of your dreams. And you're like, yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. Right? And then sometimes some things feel so good. Like you can have a great date night. You're like, this is what it was like. And you feel rejuvenated. And so you stay longer. Yeah. That was the same thing. I'd go on another campaign and I'd get that high again, like from that win that we'd have, or I'd go on a really great business trip and we'd land a huge deal and I'd feel empowered again. And so it's like I became dependent on those little doses. There's nothing wrong with my job or my life. I was just ready for more. And it was hard to take that step, to realize it, and then to take that step. To trust myself, like you said, the trust that I could do it without knowing what it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you're seeking that external validation of like, yeah, give me that joy versus like knowing that the joy is already within you. Like when you said like, wow, those trees, they're so beautiful. Like just taking that in and noticing the little things in life. I'm looking out because I'm like, I'm trying to see a tree. Yeah, like just noticing like the breeze, the air, like just the clouds, like that beauty, knowing that that joy it's always within you. Yeah, I love that. And that's so and beautifully shared. And now, like, what would you tell someone that is really struggling and that's really in the space of recreating themselves, but they're struggling? They don't know how to, they don't know how to go about it. They feel lost, a little bit stuck, overwhelmed. What's something that you would tell them?
If money was no object and you had no one else but yourself to think about, what would you do? What would your life look like then? If you could create anything you wanted in this fantasy world, you have no one else to think about, and money's no object. What do you want?
I'm even feeling it. I'm like, what do I?
Well, most people, we have a hard time giving ourselves permission to think about that. That's why I say money's no object, and no, because then it's like, well, if I didn't, I have my kids, so that's not possible, or this is what I studied. So we live with these beliefs and these walls of what's possible. But if we remove everything and you can just dream and paint a picture, like give yourself 5-10 minutes to just be in La La Land. And then at the end of that, you get to tell them it's possible.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's possible.
Yeah. I find that for it, like in my experience, in my journey, that was actually one of the first things that I had to do, was give myself permission to dream and to really step into what I wanted to create. But that was like giving myself permission first. So I love that you shared that. And so I have another juicy question. So if you could go, okay, so imagine this. If you had a time capsule that you could put a message into this little time capsule, and it was going to go back to that version of you that was really going through it, that was really struggling, what would that message contain?
It's neutral.
It's neutral. Love it. So, can you elaborate a little bit more why you would choose?
Yeah, and here's the thing: when things have happened or they're occurring, like it's already happened, right? Like in the past. And I spent so much time worrying about what's going to happen in the future, and so much time worried about coulda, shoulda, woulda, like what happened in the past, that I wasn't like right here, right? Thinking about, one, giving myself permission to dream. To give yourself permission to dream, you gotta be right here. You gotta let go of what's gonna happen in the future, just for right now, for this second, for this 5 to 10 minutes. And you get to let go of what happened in the past for this 5 or 10 minutes to allow possibility.
Powerful.
Just that. And then the question is, what do you want to create now? What do you want to create moving forward? It's like, yep, get it. They left you, they abandoned you, they broke up with you, they didn't think you were good enough, didn't get the promotion, that thing failed, your employee like acting up, whatever. And what do you want to create now? Because being stuck in the past, like we can't do anything about it. It already happened. Like literally nothing you can do. What's happened in the future, there's a million different outcomes. Why not pick the good ones? We tend to worry about the ones that could possibly go wrong. And right now, whatever I choose in this next moment is going to impact like the next thing that happens in the future. So staying right here. That's so it's neutral. That's what that means.
I love it. And when you said that, you know what came to my mind was that that meme, I don't know if you've seen it, where it's the if you've seen the Lion King, there's Simba and the little what was the name of the wise man? You know, the old
Timon? Oh, Rafiki.
oh, was that his name? Yeah, Rafiki. He hits him with his stick, and he's like, "Ow, what'd you do that for?" And
You don't even
it
know
doesn't
who you
matter. It's in the past.
Ah!
And he's like, "Yeah, but that really hurt." And he's like, "Ah, yes, the past can." So
Yeah.
yeah, but knowing that, yeah, I mean, it like whatever's in the past is in the past, and yeah, it can hurt sometimes. It can cause you some pain, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's done. So it is like it's neutral, and even like going into the future, like all that anxiety, all that worry, like it's done. You know, like
Sometimes it helps to think about like a best friend or something. Like if they were having these thoughts, whatever's going on in your head, if they were having this conversation, what would you tell them? Right? Because most of us would not sit there and tell them, girl, you messed up. How could you do that? Like, no, we'd be like, girl, don't worry about it. Move on. Like, you got this. I'm here for you. We would speak in a different tone, but we don't speak to ourselves that way.
Yeah.
We don't give ourselves grace.
Great
Encouragement on what's possible in a good way. We choose all the negatives.
Griselda, this has been so beautiful, and you have shared with us so many gems. Like, I am going to rewatch this and take a lot of notes, because I was like, yes, that's powerful. So where can people find you? Where can people find you if you want to know more about you?
Instagram's a great place. Facebook too, at Latina Boss Coach. You can go to latinabosscoach.com on my website. I got a book there on how to get started. Or email me, Griselda at latinabosscoach.com.
Yes. Oh my God. So I'm gonna put all her information there. Everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. I really enjoyed having Griselda. She's such a boss, babe. And
my dog.
Yes, and I wanted to share her with you guys. So if there is anything that resonated with you, please let us know. Type it in the comments below. Let us know what really stood out for you, and show Griselda some love. And if you want to reach out to her, I'll put her Instagram handle there so that you can have easy access to her. All right, my love. Thank you guys all so much.
Thank you.
We love you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.